Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're traveling about 3,000 years back in time.
Straight to the heart of ancient Anatolia, the Hittite world.
Exactly. But we aren't here for the usual stories of, great battles or chariots. We're zeroing in on a single, and I think a really unusual text, the Tale of Appu.
And it's unusual because it's not some grand cosmological myth. It's not about gods fighting giants or creating the world.
No.
It's this profound look at human psychology. It's about wealth, morality, what justice really means, all wrapped up in this ancient family drama.
That's the mission today, to unpack the surprisingly relatable story. We want to get inside the heads of the Hittites, this huge imperial power that was, obsessed with law and order.
Right. What did they see as the path to happiness? And what was, for them, an unforgivable vice?
And this story is like a shortcut into their whole ethical worldview.
It really is. The whole thing centers on this one man, Appu. He lives in a city called Shudul in the land of Lulua.
Which is what, modern-day southeast Anatolia, northern Syria?
Somewhere around there, yes.
So let's just paint a picture of Appu's life. Financially, I mean. He wasn't just doing okay.
Oh, not at all. He was fabulously wealthy. The text goes out of its way to describe his holdings. We're talking vast herds of cattle.
And metals. Huge amounts of silver, gold, even lapis lazuli, which was a major luxury good.
And the scribe doesn't just list them. The phrase used is that he had them in huge piles. It's an image of immense, almost unimaginable wealth.
He has everything. He's achieved the absolute peak of material success for his time. Tower, security.
Everything you could possibly want.
And this is the paradox that kicks the whole story off. He is deeply, desperately unhappy.
Utterly miserable. Because all that gold, all those cattle, they mean nothing. He's missing the one thing that truly mattered for his legacy.
A son.
No son to carry on his name. It was the ultimate social failure. For the Hittites, your prosperity was completely tied to your lineage. If your line ends.
Your name is erased. Your wealth just scatters.
And this setup, this very personal human problem, it immediately tells us we're not reading a history book. We're reading what scholars call wisdom literature.
Okay, unpack that a bit. What makes this wisdom literature?
Well, wisdom literature, you see it all over the ancient Near East. It has a very clear teaching purpose, a didactic purpose.
So it's meant to be a lesson.
Exactly. The goal is moral guidance, and it's often told through the story of a regular person facing a universal kind of struggle. Appu's story is basically a moral template for how to behave, not a record of what a king did.
Which brings us back to his despair. It wasn't just a private sadness, was it? The text makes it sound like a public spectacle.
It was. He's described as exhausted and sad, but the failure was totally public, and the shame is just amplified by his community.
His neighbors, right?
Yes, the source is so specific.
Yeah.
The people of Shudul, his own town, they deliberately eat and drink, and then they feed their sons these special foods, fried bread and meat, right in front of them.
Wow, so they're just flaunting their success, their future.
They're provoking him, highlighting his failure. It's a kind of ritualized public shaming.
And things at home aren't any better. In fact, they might be worse.
A total war zone. The text says he was just worn down by his wife's constant criticism.
The source is pretty blunt about it. She openly mocks him.
She does. She pulls the servant girls aside and tells them he's impotent. It's brutal. Here's this incredibly rich man who is just socially and personally defeated.
And there's that one image that just captures his complete collapse.
Oh, it's so powerful.
He comes home so broken, so tired, that he falls into bed without even having the energy to take off his leather dust leggings.
That tiny detail, it says everything. He's a husk of a man buried in the dust of his own failure. And that moment of utter defeat is what sets up the next act.
When human effort fails.
You go to the highest court there is, the divine.
So Appu turns to the supreme judge, the sun god, Istanu.
Also known as Shimij. And this isn't some, casual muttered prayer. It's a serious formal ritual.
Right. He sacrifices a milk-white sheep, a symbol of purity, to make sure the offering is seen as worthy.
And he prays. He asks for a child to end what he calls his calamity.
Now, this is the part of the story that always gets me. It's the twist. You're expecting, a prophecy, lightning. A command to go on a quest.
Something mystical. Something divine.
Instead, the sun god gives him advice that is so practical, so earthly, and frankly, a little weird.
It's completely unexpected. The sun god accepts the offering, hears the prayer, and then tells Appu, okay, go home.
Get thoroughly drunk.
And then sleep with your wife.
The divine solution to his existential crisis is a tipsy prescription.
I mean, what do we make of that? It's critical for understanding how the Hittites saw their gods. It suggests the divine isn't detached from, human life, from our bodies, our emotions.
So the god of justice recognizes that the problem might be human. Stress, anxiety.
Exactly. Performance anxiety, maybe. The advice, get drunk, seems designed to lower inhibitions, to relieve the immense pressure that was crippling Appu.
So it's like a divine common sense.
It could be. It grounds the relationship between God and human. The god of cosmic order is also interested in the fertility of one guy in Shudol. It humanizes the deity, and it also says that divine solutions still require human action, even slightly inebriated action.
Well, whatever the reasoning, it works.
It works. His wife becomes pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
But the story doesn't end there. This is where it pivots completely.
From a personal tragedy
To a stark moral allegory.
they have 2 sons, and their names are everything. They aren't named for, grandpa.
No. They were named after abstract concepts. This is where the teaching part of the wisdom literature really kicks in.
The first son, who is born with great difficulty, is named
Yeah.
Bad.
Just right out of the gate. An ethical label.
And the second son, born normally, is named Justice.
So Appu gets his wish, but it's a test. A living morality play unfolds in his own house.
You have to wonder what that does to him. He's so desperate for a son, any son, and he gets this cosmic conflict.
It raises a tragic question, doesn't it? Is having a child destined for wickedness actually worse than having no child at all? It's certainly a more complicated kind of pain.
So we fast forward, the boys are grown men, and Appu, probably seeing the writing on the wall, decides to divide up his huge inheritance.
He's trying to get ahead of the conflict. He splits up the flocks, the fields, all of it.
And their reactions are perfectly in character. Justice takes his share.
And he accepts it. He's content. He respects his father's decision. The text implies he got a good share, maybe a prime ox or a better field. But the key is his acceptance.
But Bad is, well, he's bad. He is driven by pure greed. He's not looking at his own massive inheritance.
No, his eyes are locked on his brother's share. He immediately claims the division was unfair and demands they do it all over again.
This is a huge deal in ancient law, right? He's not just complaining, he's challenging the father's authority.
The foundational authority of the family. And when Justice refuses to give in to this, Bad escalates. He takes the case to the only authority higher than his father.
The ultimate court.
He appeals to the very same deity who made his birth possible.
The sun god, Istanu, the judge of all humanity.
It elevates the whole thing. This isn't just a family squabble over some cows anymore. It's a theological test case. For a Hittite audience, this would be incredibly validating. It shows the god of justice is involved in even their domestic disputes.
So Bad presents his case to the divine judge. He argues unfairness, demands more, and what is the verdict?
It is swift. And it is devastatingly clear.
The sun god sides completely with justice.
Completely. And not only that, he severely reprimands Bad for his greed, for daring to challenge his brother and the established order.
And the text spells out the moral, doesn't it? It gives the divine definition of justice.
It does. The god declares that justice is achieved through contentment, through accepting the situation as it is, not through greed.
That's the philosophical core of the whole story.
Absolutely. Justice isn't about a perfect 50-50 split. It's about accepting authority and structure. In the context of a huge organized empire like the Hittites, that message is crucial for social stability. Greed undermines everything.
It's basically an argument against envy, and it reinforces the whole power structure because the Hittite king himself used the title, my son.
Precisely. The king's justice on earth is a reflection of the sun god's justice in heaven. This story is, in a way, propaganda for good behavior and for accepting the social hierarchy.
Now, here's the frustrating part. As with so many ancient texts, the tablet breaks.
Ah, the broken tablet, the bane of our existence. It breaks off right after the verdict is delivered.
But we can guess the ending, can't we, given the genre?
We can make a very educated guess. This is wisdom literature. The lesson has to be completed. Justice must be seen to prevail, and Bad must face a real consequence.
There's speculation, right, that it might mirror other myths like Romulus and Remus.
Yes, the logical conclusion is that Bad is either destroyed, maybe described as being cut down like tree stumps, or exiled, while Justice rises to a position of honor. Perhaps even becomes a king or a local leader.
The moral arc is complete. Appu's desperate search for a legacy was answered, but that legacy forced this direct confrontation between greed and acceptance.
His real wealth was never the gold in his storehouse. It was the son named Justice.
The whole tale just shows that the deepest void we can feel isn't, a material one. Appu had piles of gold. The void was a lack of moral character in his own legacy. It's a battle fought in the heart, not with swords.
It's a lesson that, I mean, it's still so powerful. The Hittite Empire is long gone, but this idea that real success is measured by your ethics, not your bank account,
Yeah.
that's timeless.
So, to leave you with a final thought on this, the story begins with Appu wanting a child, any child. But it ends by valuing the moral quality of that child above everything else. So if you were Appu and you knew how it would all play out, that your son Justice would triumph, but only after this terrible conflict with his own brother, would you still have performed that ritual? Would you still have taken the sun god's very specific tipsy advice?
Or would you have maybe found a different kind of peace, a lonely but righteous one without an heir?
A fascinating dilemma. Thank you for diving deep with us.